Hey folks, and welcome to another video from A Plain Truth for You and Well Healed Too. Well, I haven't done this in a while. I generally like to follow the axiom, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and intelligent minds talk about ideas. However, in the truth movement, it's become apparent there's so many shills, disinfo agents that are leading us down the wrong paths by design. How do you control the opposition? Karl Marx said, you lead it. And that's been done in the Flat Earth movement as well. And I did a Flat Earth Shills video because I was at one of the beginnings when Eric Dubay came out with his Flat Earth book that started it all. And, I've been at it since the beginning, so I feel very highly qualified to speak about it. But so you know, as we get into the Freemasonry, their obligations is to conceal each other's crimes. They're all on the same team. We're not in it. Deliver each other from difficulty regardless of right or wrong. Doesn't matter if you murder somebody, kill somebody, whatever, we're going to protect you. Unduly favor Masonry in political action and business matters. Bound by death oath not to make known of Masonic secrets. They be killed. Swear to avenge Masonic oath breakers unto horrible death. Not just death, horrible death. Pay Masonic dues. Donate to Masonic charities. So I got a email, or in the comment section, somebody sent me a link that was really interesting, and it was based from newspellcom.org. Did Royals fund Flat Earth psychological operation? Okay, you got my attention. So I went looking down and what they had proposed about it, and it's basically not a very in-depth research, factual kind of presentation here, even though the title is kind of leading on. And it just talks kind of in generalities, but they talk about the 13 ruling elite Jesuit families, and one of my knocks with Dubay is he would never go Jesuits. He was always the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. All right, so I already had an issue with him from the very beginning, along with many other things, and we'll get back to Eric Dubay in a minute. But what this article basically goes into is a lot of other information that isn't really laid out or chronicled or detailed or investigatively proven about many others, the Grenfell Tower hoax, controlled demolition, da-da-da. But it gets into the Vatican and the Monaco, princes of Monaco, and the Monaco no tax heaven, da-da-da. But it really doesn't give it anything to do with the Flat Earth conversation, as the title implies, until way down to here, towards the bottom of the article. Now for the coup d'etat, Eric Dubay. Before beginning with analysis of official biographies, Eric Dubay, who does the gematria, it's 8-8, which means infinity, infinity. Gematria readings represent telltale indicators. I found in gematria you could basically use any numbers and make something up of it. But again, 38 years old, 11 again, folks. Now remember, Eric Dubay was 32-degree Freemason when he was pulling out the Flat Earth conversation to the world. And that he had an audience to do it was set up by his books he got in previously, which we'll get into. Dubay swiftly became acknowledged by those numbered among the alternative research community as the authority on Flat Earth. Eric Dubay does not support anybody else in his work. He, in fact, buried many people like myself trying to get the truth out, would not support me or anybody. That was a real truther, but he also went against fellow truthers that were shills, so they, how do you lead the opposition? You control it. He was employed instructor, Wah Chung, Dada. They say, yoga is the work of the devil. This article gets into, which I totally discount. And he says, Dubay, he says it's the author's contention. So it's just him saying this. No one else is back. He's not backing this up by anything but this author's own contention. That as the alternative news researcher was fabricated character to aid in his ruling elite masters in socially conditioning the hearts and the minds of the masses into accepting the occult spiritual doctrines and the philosophical tenets of their pagan Luciferian mystery school religion, the identical occult philosophies celebrated and revered by high-level initiates of the Templar Jesuit Masonic order. Now, I have no doubt with that statement that Dubay was part of that, because I watched him roll it out, and I'll get into that in a minute. But then to further what he says here, which is really interesting, is Eric Dubay is indeed a fabricated character portrayed by a host actor agent of chaos, who is genealogically related to Prince Stefano Casagari Grimaldi of Monaco, being the eldest son, blah, blah, blah. So he's saying he's royalty and he's playing his role. All right? So let's get into this. And here's the comment in my Plain Truth website that I got this from. And what the person, Sparky, who sent this to me, thank you for Sparky, you put me on another goose chase here, that the brother of Andre Kasargi, it gets worse. His brother Pierre Kasargi is a.k.a. Logan Paul. And Logan Paul crashed the Flat Earth International Christian Conference in Denver last year. And there was a whole thing about some 20-year-old something getting the stage, and who is he? Well, he has a great following, so we're going to put him up there. And Robbie Davidson helped do it. And then we had Mark Sargent left the Flat Earth Conference. Drama. We had Mad Mike with his missiles right in the center of the whole Flat Earth Conference exhibition hall where I was selling books and stuff, because I wasn't invited to the Flat Earth Conference because I'm not a Christian of their faith, of their, the Bible. But here's Mad Mike, which we'll get into in a minute, with his rocket ship that was set front and center about going up to see if the Earth is really curved in his little rocket ship. Anyway, so Pierre Kasargi is the lookalike of Logan Paul, and I didn't even know who Logan Paul was before this. But take a look at this. So I went and pulled up the pictures of these guys, and damned if there's some striking similarities here. So this is Monaco. Prince spelled it wrong. Kasargi is a.k.a. Eric Dubé. Well, it could be. I mean, I don't do all this, they look exactly alike or whatever, but there is a case to be made that this guy looks like these guys. And then this guy down here, Pierre Kasargi, is Logan Paul. And here's Logan Paul right here. All right? So there is a case to be made that there could be. So let's follow this through a little more. Are these guys all playing on the same team? Is this the Jesuit rollout to get us conflicting between flat earthers and globetards? That we have to argue and fight more, just like LBGT, just like Black Lives Matter, just like immigration, just like Trump versus Obama. They're getting us to fight each other. So they brought out, that's my contention, they brought out Flat Earth to give us some truth, but also to get us conquered by division in a grand fashion. So here's a little montage I brought up, put together here. Here's Eric Dubé, and you can see him with the Freemason. As I said, he was 32 years old when he came out with Flat Earth book and Freemason signature using his yoga poses. This is the Freemasons logos. You notice Google, the M, the male, that's the apron they wear. Here you see the double X. Here you see the globe dome, the dome over the two Joachim and Boas, the four corners of the earth, coming down, hidden in plain sight with the illusion of the black and white checkerboard and whatnot. This is their logo, so that's, you can totally see it's a flat earth dome firmament. Disneyland, you see the dome on it too. We all know when we look for it now, we see that. But here's Logan Paul. Look at him giving the devil signs over here. If you look on the shirt here, it's a pyramid on his shirt, and then there's the eagle right there as well. And he's just stoned out of his mind when you get this picture. But look over here, folks. This is what's really interesting. These are Freemason signs. This is the sign of the entered apprentice level, the first level of the entering of the Freemasonry uses this sign. And this sign is the Dugard of the fellow craft mason. I don't know what degree that is. But here we got all them all down. We got Mr. Skiba. We got here. We've got Mark Sargent here. We got Patricia CIA Steers, who was a radio broadcaster, changed her name, doesn't admit it, doesn't acknowledge it. Mark Sargent back here came out of nowhere. He gets promoted on Flat Earth. What was Mark Sargent? He played pinball. He was a video gamer before he became a Flat Earth researcher. And all of a sudden, right after Dubé, he comes out with 10 videos, out of nowhere, and he gets promoted everywhere. Rob Skiba, I have a heck of a lot of respect for. I sure hope he's not in on it, but, here he is giving the sign, Flat Earth, Flat Earth. Well, those are all Freemason signs, folks. Look up above. Here's Robbie Davidson and Logan Paul right here, right? And then Logan Paul all of a sudden shows up at the Flat Earth Conference out of nowhere and gets a voice, right? And here's your Mark Sargent guy, he's now on all over the place getting promoted and getting talked about when he's just another shill. He's an idiot. And then down here is Mad Mike. Now, Mad Mike, they added the centerpiece, Robbie Davidson, who put on the Flat Earth International Christian Conference. He's got this thing in the centerpiece of this freaking rocket that Mad Mike was going to go up and see the curves. He went up 2,000 feet. Planes go up in the air, airplane goes 30,000 feet. Mike, just get an airplane ticket and look out your window, you idiot. And then Robbie Davidson is promoting this idiocracy about Mad Mike doing this stuff, and he's bringing on this 23-year-old kid when he could have had somebody sitting right outside his door who wrote the beginnings of the first Flat Earth website, the #1 Flat Earth YouTube channel, and the #1 Flat Earth book. I'm not being pretentious. I'm not I'm not pissed that they don't invite me to any of this stuff. I'm just stating facts, folks. And no one talks to me, but they promote this idiot shill, right? And they're all doing the same signs, the Freemason signs. Do they all know it? Well, look at this picture again, folks. Now look at these guys giving the sign right here, and look at Robbie, and look at Logan. Are they giving the Freemason signs? No, their hands are in their pocket around somebody else. They're the only ones not doing it. I thought that was very telling as well. So I started calling out ED right after about 3 months into it. He had his IFRS, International Flat Earth Research. He said, all I wanted to do was get the flat earth truth out, da-da-da. Well, we started calling him on some of his bullshit when we started finding out that some of his truths were not totally being true, like the fact that, here we go to this one, that Eric Dubé got $100,000 from the National Vaccine Injury and Compensation for injuries claimed due to Guillain-Barré syndrome vaccination, though he's a vegan and he doesn't vaccinate. This was directly after he spent 2 months in Washington, D.C., confirmed, fact-based, and put in his face, and he denies that he was in Washington, D.C. The documentation is there. His name's on the vaccine injury compensation. That's how they paid him for his work, my speculation. And then here we have again, why didn't you mention your Freemason family? So then it came out that Eric Dubé had some Freemason families, which he didn't bother to tell us about. Well, for reading it, James May is finally had to come clean. For everybody reading this, James May is my great uncle who was a Freemason who I've talked about before. You know what's bullshit? You're lying about the 2-ball cane Freemason pin. Well, this was a pin that Dubé was promoting on his site, and someone called it on and said that's a Freemason site. You also notice what the logo is, folks? Facebook. See how it works? 2-ball cane. It's part of all the Freemasonry in there as well. Eric Dubé, controlled opposition. So Eric Dubé came out with his book Flat Earth Conspiracy in September of 2015. And I got the book because I had followed his book Spiritual Science, which was excellent, and I've been following his site for a while. And then he came out with his 200 Proofs Earth Not a Spinning Ball right at the same time, and you can see the date down here, November 2nd, 2015. So he had these other books out here, Flat Earth Conspiracy, which he just came out, then the 200 Proofs. But before that, he had Asbestos, had his first book, and then he has his Flat Earth Plane. But he had this book, Atlantean Conspiracy, which he doesn't have here, interestingly enough, which is really good about spiritual science. And I've been following him for a couple years. Well, then, I mean, if we go back to it, I followed him in all this breaking news when I was following, just all the truthers that were back then. And I'd been reading David Icke's book, great information with no reason to doubt the guy, and he comes out with this book about him being a Freemason back in 2010. So he had to be like 28, 29 years old. Well, look at what he did right before he came out with the Flat Earth books, folks. Look at how he, here he comes out with his Proof Not a Spinning Ball. This is August 3rd, 2015, right? So you look at that, and then he comes out with a big breaking, that's August 2015. Look at 2015, dinosaur hoax. Dinosaurs never existed. Great research, proprietary information. All of a sudden, I learned dinosaurs weren't a hoax from Eric Dubé. And he's coming out just a month after he writes his Flat Earth Bible that changes the world about Flat Earth as he self-celebrates. He's the only one that came out with Flat Earth, and he doesn't support anybody else. Oh, and what else did Eric Dubé come out with at the time? Oh, right before that, Eric Dubé comes out and says nuclear weapons don't exist. Then I started looking into Chernobyl. I started looking into Nagasaki and Hiroshima, why there's no radiation 70, 80 years later. Oh my gosh. And this is when I'm starting to think this guy is really doing some great research. And so I'm following him all the way through. And what else did Dubé come about? Not the Ike thing. Nuclear weapons don't exist, February 13, 2015, right? And then the dinosaur hoax on top of that, on top of his spinning ball. So he's making all these incredible revelations. Then he goes after that the Holocaust is a bad number, and if you eat meat, you're a bad person. All these controversials. Then he's going after every flat earther that doesn't buy into his spiel or objects to anything he's doing, does not support anyone else. So I'm sure some of you are asking, well, Jamie, if you don't like talking about people, why are you going after them? If people find out about the truth movement, isn't it good no matter how they find out about it? Yes and no. The yes part about it is it's great the information is being let out by the conspirators who want us to mislead us and control the opposition, that we're finding out about all this occulted knowledge. The no part about it is they mix in 10, 15% lies. They never go far enough. They never take you to the places you need to go. If you want to become a full truther, you've got to go with all truth. You've got to be open to everything. And they simply do not go there. They're controlled opposition. They're going to lead you to a certain, just like Alex Jones. He won't go Jesuit. Alex Jones won't go flat earth. And that's one of the ways you can tell. So I came up with these 6 points about how I know if somebody's being the truther or not, because I've been in it and I've been right in the meat of it now, and so I want to share with you so you don't waste your time and you can be skeptical. You can use discernment and judgment to decide if you should believe or not what the people are presenting, and then you decide. But here's what I use. Does a truther fully disclose that's using social media to advance what they're speaking about, their platforms? Do they let you use, are they fully disclosing their background free and open? Will they let you open source it? I'm going to talk about Mike Williams right now at Sage Aquay. Mike Williams I thought was a good friend on the cyber world. I did several interviews with him. When I asked him to be open source with his work, "No, I'm not doing that, Jamie. I'm going to sue you if you do." He threatened to shut me down if I posted any of his work without his express permission. He's copyrighted this and copyrighted that. So I had to break away from Mike Williams. I don't respect him at all now. It's unfortunate, but that's what I had to do because he just would not support others' work. I think it should all be open source. Our work is to educate all. That's what Eric Dubay said. I'm just a flat earther who wants the truth out. Bullshit, Eric. You got your agenda, and you go after others, and you don't keep it focused on flat earth. You don't go on anybody else's shows. You don't promote anybody else's work. Do they promote other truthers? You see them talking about others and saying, hey, this person's doing that good work. Hey, Sandro Spinacci doing great work. Hey, so-and-so. Do you see them doing that? If they're not doing that, can't be a real truther. Do they advance with truthers' knowledge? Do they learn about flat earth? Do they learn about the Jesuits, Tartarian Empire, syncretism, directed energy weapons? Are they talking about it? Are they moving with us as the collective truthers and awakeners are advancing their knowledge base based on new and relevant information? Are they furthering along? Dane Wigginton at Geoengineering Watch. Dane would not go directed energy weapons. Dane would not go radio frequency controlled Doppler radar and steering and controlling weather. Dane would not go wet surface air coolers. Dane used to be a friend of mine but would not even read my geoengineering book because he said I was a flat earther. No, this is in Wall Street what you do, folks. If you don't want to have to say and discuss a subject that's uncomfortable, you don't look at it. It's called plausible denial. And that was my ex-friend Dane did to me when he's the one that suggested I write a book on flat earth. Goodbye, Dane. You're a shill. All-inclusive, not divisive. How about the Flat Earth Christian Conference? I just spoke about that earlier. Are they including everybody? No, it's just their club, and by the way, I don't want to be in it. The corporate media. You're seeing these guys on Rents. You're seeing these guys on Alex Jones. You're seeing these guys on all these shows. How do they get on there? I'm not getting called. I got 250,000 views on my A Plain Truth original channel. I didn't get calls to be on these shows. I'd do it if they called me because I would need the word to get out, but no one's talking to me about any of this stuff. It's not sour grapes, folks. It's just the truth. So hopefully this all helps you in understanding and figuring out the flat earth information is great. It's getting out. But who you trust becomes essential going forward because they'll limit you of how far we can learn about the truths. And that's why I made the video today. All right, so this is the Flat Earther, Plain Truth Out. We'll catch you next videos. Peace, love one another, and share with all. Thanks.
Okay, guys, there you have it. Thanks, man. Catch up in the next video. Ciao.